Hello, BookTube. Just a little video, once again, to start another meditation on DNF. Do not finish. This one you might figure out from just my voice that this one's about lingering. I think fishermen, they get it. I think if you become fishermen, it must be because you really like the periods of time when there really isn't much happening and there really isn't much you need to do. And you can just be there on the water, like these boats that you can see in the distance. And you can just linger. There's nothing wrong with it. I think lingering it's so good for the brain. We want so much for ourselves. And yeah, I think back, I'll tell you what I'm reading right now, which will become a BookTube video. I'm reading Jared Diamond. And of course, he's looking back at our ancestors 8, 11, 15,000 years ago. And I think life was dangerous. He's absolutely clear about that. But it also was incredibly simple, and a lot of time could be spent just taking in your natural surroundings. There wasn't anything else that demanded your sensory, intellectual, emotional attention. And I think that must be part of the general mindfulness movement, just trying to return us to some kind of older appreciation of going slowly. So that's what this is going to be about. Give you a little more silence like I usually do, and then we'll get started.
Welcome back, BookTube. The irony is that we can't linger with today's material, and that's just because the opening video was a little longer than my usual, and I really don't want to go over my self-imposed limit of 10 minutes for coffee breaks. We all know that social media is about getting a lot of content quickly. We also know that publishers coach authors to hook their readers in from the opening sentence and then keep a good pace going, right? On top of that, we also have this overwhelming pressure from BookTube telling us that we should be getting through more books in less time, as if novels, as if they were like fast food or sprint races. But I think the better strategy for getting more books finished successfully is not speed and quantity, but setting a completely different pace. I think we should read slowly on purpose. Limit how much we read from the same book each day. That's especially helpful if you are thinking of tackling those classic 19th century authors. Dickens, Eliot, Thomas Hardy. They're worthwhile, but the sentences are longer, the sentences are constructed differently, the paragraphs are longer, and the pace is much, much slower. So many Victorian novels, they were actually published in installments, like little magazines that came out every month. If you think of Charles Dickens' Bleak House, right, that's 900 pages long. It's a big book. But when it was first published, it came out as 20 monthly issues, right? So the first readers of that novel had no choice. They read that book very slowly. It took them 20 months, right, at the very least. Now, the advantages of slow reading. If you read a little and then you set the book aside, your brain will have time to digest what it's read. That's when I work on my book reviews, by the way. In those little gaps, between reading a bit of the book and then reading a bit of another book, or reading, 2 parts of the same book, because that's when the ideas come. If you break up any novel into those little installments, let's say between 2 to 4 chapters per month, you will find you have time for rereading, perhaps, and rereading is even better for deeper comprehension of the book and better retention. I mean, you have to bear in mind, a page of text that maybe takes you a minute to read took the author hours to put together. It's not quick. Definitely not a quick process. Not when you take all the editing into account. So the word choices and the sentence structure, they were big decisions. I think you have to slow your reading down. You can't slow it down to the same pace that the author wrote, or you would spend an afternoon reading a page, right? Not that that's bad necessarily, but you don't have to get right down to that sort of thing. But slowing down to something closer is definitely better, because that's when you will get insights into that thinking process that laid down those words and those sentences. I'm also going to recommend that you read some or all of your book out loud, right? I know some people, they have a print copy of the book and then they follow along with an audiobook reader. Now I think that's cool, because you will notice then how the performing reader brings that book to life. Actually, it's funny, is it just me? I've never heard anybody read to children badly. You always get lots of vocal variation then, and you get a lot of emotion put in the voice to just try to keep the child entertained. But when adults read aloud to other adults, oh, that can get really, really dull. I don't know why. I would say pretend that you're reading your book out loud, whatever part of it you read, as if you're reading to someone who really needs the entertainment. Maybe rehearse, read a couple of paragraphs and record yourself, so that you can see how you do the delivery and where you want to make changes, because each time you make a decision about how you read the book, that increases your understanding of the book. And also, I'm going to put this out there, I think we should try reading out loud with other people. That's a 19th century pastime that has died out, as you can see from the painting that I chose. If you have one or two bookish people who are friends, I'm going to say, hey, try getting together in person or virtually, and you open up the sort of your little book club meeting. One person will summarize what was read the last time, and then you will take turns reading the next agreed portion of your chosen book. The other advantage to reading slowly is you have time to respond to the book proactively, not just be the passive recipient of all those words, right? I've got 3 suggestions. 1, write chapter summaries. I do this on an Excel spreadsheet, but I work in accounts. You can use the blank pages inside the book or draw a mind map. You don't need a lot of information, maybe the page number, the point of view, the setting, a couple of sentences to describe the action that takes place. Second thing, write character lists. Some books, this is absolutely necessary. There are so many characters. If a list sounds boring, you could always do like a family tree chart, or if you really are into visual art, sketch the characters. Or let's say you're into film. Why not pretend that you're the casting director for the screen adaptation, and then you just pick the actors that you want to play the various roles. Final thing, look up the definition of words you don't know. If there's a literary allusion or a metaphor that just goes over your head, try and Google it. Google historical events, famous people that you don't know. See, now the real advantage of slow reading is you might have time to read a second book alongside, something that really beefs up your understanding, like a work of biography or history. And that's it. Thanks for listening. Next time, we ask whether the best way to read literature is to ignore the novel completely. Sound interesting? Well, you have to subscribe to hear more. Look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye.